We have the panel discussion now, and this is the first panel discussion of Engage 2016. And may I introduce the moderator for this panel discussion, Kiruba Shankar, CEO, Business Blogging Private Limited. Kiruba is the CEO of Business Blogging and founder director of F5 Technologies. He has 20 years of work experience in the internet space and is associated with leading brands such as British Council, Domino's Pizza, Murugappa Group, Mahindra Group, Sterling Holidays, Lawson and Toubro, and the Hindu newspaper group. He has authored 5 books and has been a technology columnist for newspapers such as Business Standard, Financial Express, and the New Indian Express. He has been teaching for 16 years and is a professor of digital marketing. He is a professional podcaster and hosts Kiruba TV, where he interviews global achievers. Business World magazine once ranked his blog, kiruba.com, as one of India's top blogs. Kiruba Shankar, may I request you to kindly come up on stage, please? Yeah. And I would leave it to Kiruba to introduce the very erudite panel that is in the auditorium today.
So I'll tell you, before a start of any panel discussion, there's something absolutely important one must do. I mean, this is just so very important, which is to take a selfie first. All right, so it's my pleasure to invite on stage Ms. Rita Bhivani, CEO of Rhythm Communications. Can I request you on stage, ma'am? Dr. Maushmi Ghosh, founder director of Team Future. Manoshi Roy Chowdhury, Ms. Manoshi, co-chairman Techno India Group, request your presence on stage. Dr. Ajay Pathak, director IBS Business School. And my good friend Pradeep Chopra, CEO Digital Vidya. You have in your hands. If you have your phones, your notepads, whatever, you just keep them on the table for me, please. Excellent. Now, I want you to just relax and take a nice deep breath. Just relax down, yeah. And I want you to close your eyes. Everybody. Cameraman, can you just point to the crowd so we can catch somebody who's sneaking? That's good. Now, I want you to think, now that you have your eyes closed, I want you to think to yourself, how in your life have you found digital playing a role in learning? Or very simply, how has technology helped you learn better? 12 seconds. Thank you. I want you to now take your phones, everyone. Take your phones out. Open up Twitter if you have Twitter, or open up Facebook. I believe everyone's already on Facebook. And I want you to jot down the thought that you just ran across your mind. I want you to Facebook or tweet with the hashtag. What's the hashtag, sir? What's the hashtag? No clue, right? So what's the hashtag? It's Digital Engage Summit. 10 points to you, ma'am. Digital Engage Summit. So let's see if you can tweet your thought on how technology plays an important role in learning. Facebook and tweet it. I'm going to keep checking. Let's see how active this crowd can get. And now, I'm going to, before I quickly turn on the questions to the esteemed panel, I'm going to put you guys on a spot, all right? So I have 3 questions for you. And I want you to raise your hand if your answer is yes. How many of you in the last 1 month ever walked into a post office and bought an inland letter as against, how many of you prefer going to a post office to buy an inland letter and post as against emailing? Raise your hands. None. There's 1 person out there. That's awesome. How many of you prefer going to an airline ticketing office, take your car, your bike, or your metro, go there, buy ticket, as against going on a Clear Trip or a Make My Trip? None. How many of you would love to go to a video rental shop to buy a CD, or if you're still living under the rock, a VHS tape to watch a movie? None. None, none, none. Yet, it completely bemuses me as to why our education is so stuck with blackboards, why our kids have to tag along a sack full of books, and many educators consider going to Wikipedia as plagiarism. On one hand, while all of us are moving technology-wise, and you would agree, ma'am, we all take pride in technology and moving forward, yet we seem to remain backwards when it comes to learning. So mind you, this session is about learning, not necessarily about education, learning in school, learning in colleges, and learning in organizations. So first off, I know we never had a formal introduction for each one of you, and so if you can just take exactly 30 seconds and talk about who you are, your organization, and your role in education. Let's start with you, ma'am.
Myself, Mrs. Manushi Roy Chaudhary, representing the group Techno India and the co-chairman from the group. We had started with engineering colleges, the first group of private engineering colleges in West Bengal, and then to schools, and finally the first private university in the state.
Ma'am, over to you. Can we have a couple of more mics handed over to the panel? That'll be fantastic.
How many seconds?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. I'm Rita Bhimani. I've been in this profession of public relations for over 40 years, and now I run my own public relations company, Rhythm Communications. I also teach a 3-year degree course in media sciences, and I am, for all intents and purposes, a dinosaur, but I also want to become more digitally enabled. Thank you.
Good morning. Moushubi Ghoshia was a professor, has been an educator, founder director of Team Future into education and healthcare. Education, 2002, we started with Future Institute of Engineering and Management, transgressed to Future Business School, Future Institute of Technology, Future Media School, Future School of Hospital Management, and in healthcare we do have diagnostic centers, hospitals, and specialty care centers. Would confess, not very digitally enabled, but trying to be enabled.
Yeah, very good morning to all of you. I'm Ajay Pathak, Director, IBS Business School, Kolkata. We have been there since 1995, and we have now 9 business schools and 11 universities. And at any point of time, 50,000 students are studying with us. Our core competency is in management education, though we have universities, private universities all across the country. And we have, virtually we can say that we are the leaders in the management education. I'm not very digitally enabled, but I'm learning from my students to understand what digitization is all about. And I really hope that you will enjoy this panel discussion.
Good morning, everyone. My name is also Pradeep Chopra. Really happy to be here, and I've been running business since last 16 years, and across 3 of our businesses, 2 have been in education. Currently, I'm in Digital Vidya, which is a digital marketing education company, and since last almost 3 years, we have stopped doing physical programs. We do purely online programs. So would love to share about how it has even contributed to the growth of our business as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Pradeep Chopra nearly had a heart attack because in the previous session, when the announcer came up on stage and said that, and now for the second keynote address, put your hands together for Mr. Pradeep Chopra. He's like, what? Keynote me? And then Mr. Pradeep Chopra, who's sitting out here from my lead, had another heart attack when they invited him to be a panel. He's like, no, what panel, what? So that is good. All right. My second round of questions out to you, and I'm going to start with Pradeep first. Pradeep, you consciously chose to step away from traditional teaching. And I know as you've taught at many IIMs, you've taught at IITs and many of these esteemed education institutes, but you've been a pioneer and you decided to use technology and digital as a way to run courses. And arguably, you're one of the biggest in India when it comes to enabling digital education. What made you step away from the brick and mortar of learning businesses, and why did you move away to digital?
Sure, Krupa. Let me share our journey, right? So we started 6.5 years back in 2009. That point of time, we used to do a 2-day social media marketing workshop. That's how we started our journey in digital marketing education. And at that point of time, the key question we were addressing through our workshop used to be, why social media? Because social media was a buzzword. And that was sufficient in terms of that workshop. It was doing justice to what our audience needed. Then we realized that question got expanded from why social media to how digital. So it's not just why, it's not just social. And we realized we will need to offer a long-term course. It's not just a 2-day workshop. And given the kind of people who were part of our audience in terms of people who were taking the training program, given we are talking of online marketing, given we saw education was moving online as we heard about Coursera, edX, and a lot of other platforms, we thought it is worth experimenting with online programs because it delivers a lot of values for us to scale our business and for our audience. And we started experimenting. The first obvious reason was, anyone who's attending an online course, they don't need to miss even a single session. So our flagship program is a 6 months digital marketing certification program. And there are almost more than 30, close to 50 sessions one needs to attend. They could be present anywhere in the world. So they don't have to miss any session. So that was one obvious advantage we had. Then we saw that another really great advantage of online was that in terms of they save a lot of their precious time and money. In any city, if they have to travel almost 1 to 2 hours for a 3-hour session, that's a huge time and money getting wasted. So that was another reason we found which was useful for us to consider and continue with online. Then we realized that given it was online, it offered a lot of value by increasing the value for participants because people from different geographies were participating. Like as he was sharing, when you have people from almost 25, 30 geographies participating in a single class, there are different perspectives people bring, and that adds to the value people get. So that was another reason we found which was valuable for us to continue with online. The biggest reason why we completely switched to online in 2013 was we realized that for a long-term program, we almost have 15 program leaders who take that course. And digital marketing being so practical subject, it's not possible to have an expert in every area or one person who is an expert in every area. So we needed people who come from that particular area, like a social media expert who is practicing social media day in, day out. Like that, we almost have 15 program leaders, and they cannot be present in every city. Like we cannot have 15 program leaders in Delhi, in Mumbai, in Bangalore, in Dubai. So we cannot have that. And that was the biggest reason why we completely switched to online. And at this point of time, we have almost 50 batches having 1,500 participants doing a 6 months program from almost 30 countries. And that is, I think, working really, really well. It's been almost close to 3 years for us, and it's growing. It has added a lot of value for us. But for all these reasons, it has significantly enhanced the value our participants get. I would love to share more about it.
Well, technically you can have all 15 people in all countries, but it's going to be very expensive for you. It just doesn't make monetary sense at all. I completely agree with you. All right. Now, Pradeep's like a big proponent. I mean, he's walking the talk, right? He thinks digital is the next big future, so he uses that as a platform for people to come and learn. How many of you agree that digital is the future of learning? If you agree, please raise your hand. All right? That's pretty much, keep your hands raised, keep your hands raised. All right, keep your hands raised. Now take your left hand, keep it on your heart. Take your left hand, keep it on your heart. And the next question, I want you to be absolutely truthful. Absolutely truthful. How many of you have taken a course in Coursera or taken in edX or any of the ones that Pradeep Chopra mentioned earlier in the previous talk? If you have, continue to raise your hand. If not, remember, devil will come and poke your eyes if you lie. So if you haven't taken, put your hands down. All right? Look at that. 80% of the hands went down. Thank you so much, guys. Put your hands down. So here's the thing. While we completely believe that the future is digital, however, there seems to be an adoption problem coming forth. all right, for us. So I'm going to shift my focus to Dr. Manoshi, and I'm going to ask you, so in Techno India, you kind of pioneered giving semester exams online. You know, am I correct? And I think that's like, I haven't heard too many universities even venturing that, going completely digital. So did you face inertia for launching new initiatives like this?
It was, first, it's really a pleasure for me attending such a program and being a part of it. Thank you so much. It was when we started with the university programs, we had started with the Moodle system. And that is when...
Hang on, ma'am. I only know of Noodle, but all of us know noodles. But what is a Moodle? Can you explain that for the benefit of all of us?
It is a software by which the total process of education is online, and it is it helps the students to learn in a fast, student-friendly way when and where they want. But as you had mentioned, initially starting with this system was really tough for us. The teachers, the faculty members, they were definitely not used to such a system. They had to work very hard in a very new environment to make the curriculum ready. But after a certain period of time, definitely the teachers as well as the students were really very excited with such a program, and I think it had gone in a very positive manner for the students finally.
Excellent, excellent. That's good to know. So we're seeing baby steps that educational institutes are taking to imbibe digital in what is considered a very traditional kind of an approach. I'm going to go to Ms. Rita. First, hats off to you, ma'am. I think, and hats off to you for accepting the fact that you need to learn digitally more. And it's, very rare for somebody to come and say that, hey, I'm a little, I need to catch up on, but I'm open for it. So first, respect to you for that. You run a PR firm, Rhythm Communications. You're also a professor and you teach in institutions as well. What role do you see social and digital playing a role for organizations? So far we talked about students in schools and colleges, but what about organizations?
Thank you so much, Kiruba. Yes, I'm glad you've shifted the focus a little to organizations. You see, we continue to delve in traditional public relations methods, and we will still continue to do so in many ways. The kind of strategy planning that we do face-to-face, sitting across with our clients and trying to work out long-term solutions. Having said that, when I went into your website, business blogging, I found something very interesting where you talked about online strategy planning. And this is something that maybe we would like to do. I would not like to go into it by myself, but I would like to use the services of people like you and ask you that could you do this for us? And maybe a lot of companies might like to take the help of experts in this particular field for us to get ahead. There's no point in my saying, I know it, I can come to a conference like this and educate myself, which is wonderful. And then, after that, share it with my students, definitely. But don't you think that the expertise is something that we need to tap into with people like you? Now here I am marketing you, I'm marketing business blogging, but I liked your concepts.
Thank you, ma'am. As promised, I'll send you the check home. No, joking. No, absolutely, Ms. Rita is absolutely right. Now, would you believe, right? So I'm publishing my book in about 20 days from now. And traditionally what people will have to do is you have to go through a publisher, you need to hire locally a good designer, a layout, a proofreader. Now, I'm able to get like at 1/3 the cost of amazing professionals in each one of this line, just like what Pradeep said. And all these people are from Philippines, and they are from Doha, they are from Canada. So suddenly what happens is that digital is now breaking all geographical boundaries. And you can now, like Ms. Rita said, you can now reach out to specialists in each area, and you can take their advance. So the idea is that you don't have to kind of penalize or punish yourself if you don't know any of the technologies that is needed. But if you know the right people, if you know the right technology to help you out, I think that's the name of the game.
But Kiruba, just to add to that, I still think that content is king, and that you have to start with the basics. And just because you're digitally advanced doesn't mean that you'll be able to write a superb brief. I think you still need wordsmiths like us who will probably give those inputs. And I want people still to work at those basics and then go on to the next few steps.
That's right. That's what the first keynote speaker emphasized, right? So thank you so much. Right? You said that, hey, digital is nothing, but all it does is that it enables you to do your job much better, and that's the power of it. So I completely agree, ma'am. I think content is king, and digital is just the enabler. Let me come to Dr. Moushmi Ghosh. So quickly tell us a little bit about Team Future, and then how do you see digital playing a role in learning in your organization?
I've been a teacher all through. In fact, I've spent about 15 years in IIM Calcutta. I used to teach finance. I remember the most attractive classes were those of case studies, where we used to take positions. And from that point of time, I visualized that I was from the company's side. So I always probably visualized myself as an entrepreneur. Now, having said that, the roles that we played, the engagement, the experience, everything counted. It is. We'll have to rise on the digital wave, and it has all pros, hardly any cons. But I would still emphasize that the experience of a campus, of a discussion, of a storytelling, of face-to-face interviews, and when I hang out with my students, I still remember the lake. It was called the Suicidal Point in IMC. And we used to hang out with the students at that point of time. I lost one or two students of mine there. And we come back to future. In fact, in 2002, when people called me mad, in fact, they called my husband mad and me mad because he quit PwC and I quit IMC to set up future. So it was the madness which kind of we enjoy. It is interacting with the young minds to understand their body languages, even if you've ditched by your girlfriend, or if you've not done well in class, or whatever it is, you could understand. So I hope digital doesn't take us away from the sentiments and emotions. It is a collaborative platform. That is also a collaborative platform.
Got it. So I see Dr. Ajay Pathak leaving a sense of relief. But I'm gonna put both of you on a spot right now. If you, how many of us in this auditorium, if Mr. Somajit had given a live stream of this event, and if you were told you don't need to pay your fee, but you can sit at the comfort of your home and watch the entire event, how many of you would have taken that up? Right? So that's not much. You know why? Because the experience of being out here and listening to the panelists in flesh and blood and having this conversation after the panel discussion, meeting people, exchanging cards, building relationships is something that, digital is not, you don't feel it working as well as in real life. Which brings me to the, Dr. Ajay Pathak into the picture. Did you say 50,000 students? Whoa. Now, so my question to you, Dr. Ajay, is that with so many students out there, do you see a possibility of building your user base 5 times using digital and distance?
Yeah, this 50,000 is including distant learning mode. We have including distant learning mode. I feel digitization is the way forward, definitely. And I strongly agree with Dr. Moushmi Ghosh saying that we feel that the students coming to the campus is more important. Okay, because we can feel the students can feel us, the emotions are there. And we enjoy more with our students. rather than being online. We have everything online, right from the admission, which is online, the tests are online. Those for the selection, they will have to have, a group discussion, and the preliminary interview has to take place. This has to happen because whenever we are interviewing students, we want to know what they are, and we cannot find out online as to what they are. The interview process and the entire selection process is so streamlined and so systematic that that is why we have been successful for virtually last 21 years plus. And what we do is we have internally developed a platform which is known as the Quick Force platform, where we give access to the students, where they can learn from the online courseware all across the country. We give them linkages, and we have attendance which is online. We have, the students, the faculty can share the content with our students. And this is there throughout the year, and we really enjoy it because we feel that hybrid is the mode. Ultimately, digitization will take place. Digitization is happening, and we are going ahead with that. No, there's nothing. But online is something where, in the long run, it may definitely sustain, maybe, 5 years, 10 years down the line. But we are worried about, the various issues like emotional issues, the behavioral issues of the students. How do we understand our students? Because what has happened in last 5 years, I find a significant change. Change in the sense the students are coming basically from the district areas for doing the management education, from the rural areas. They want to be a part of the entire, urbanization. And that is why we feel that though digitization would be there definitely, and we are improving it on a daily basis, we are working on it, and we are giving a lot of scope to the students to be online, and most of them are online, we know that. We can share our notes. If the student has missed the classes, we can send it on the Quick Force platform. In the night, if I want to talk to my students, I can talk to my students on the Quick Force platform. So we are definitely there, but I feel digitization is an additional important pedagogical tool which will help us in improving the learning in the students.
Can I play the devil's advocate? And I'll tell you everything that you said is wrong. Let me tell you why. I requested, there are 300 of us out here which I believe are digitally savvy professionals out here. And I made a request for you to close your eyes, to think through ideas, and then to tweet them and Facebook them. I checked Twitter, one person has put it. I checked Facebook, 0. And here is the creme de la creme of digitally savvy, or people who are so interested in digital that you have paid money, taken a Monday off to come. How now do you think that your 50,000 students, and for them to start learning, if all of us out here are doing such a bad job, how do you think students will then take digital and imbibe?
Yeah, definitely. See, what we provide in the online content is the course which we are teaching.
No, sir, don't even go to your courses, everything. It is just that we don't seem to be, to run with the pace of technology. We don't seem to do that. And here is a classic case. How would you respond?
I definitely do not agree with this viewpoint which you have. What I said basically was, we feel that this will come, but it will take time. It has its own period by which it will come. And it is definitely improving. I feel that this is going to be the way forward, definitely. Okay. I fully agree with that. And students are digitally enabled. And we are digitally enabled. There are 2-3 challenges which we face. One is, to what extent the faculty will understand the utilization of the extent of digitization. To what extent my students who are coming from the district and rural areas, to what extent they will understand. But they will have to be imbibed, they will have to be told about it. And ultimately, this is going to be the way forward, and this is going to improve definitely. It will not happen immediately. It will take time. It will take its own time.
Got it.
The distance learning mode which we have students, they're basically on the distance learning platform. In the full-time programs, we are there. We are there in, we have got this subsidiary tool, this Quick Force platform which I've talked about. So we are there. So we are additionally enhancing the learning of my students. I mean, that's what we feel.
Got it. So it wasn't meant as a personal message out there, Dr. Ajay, just that us as a community of people, we seem to be, which explains why, all the Coursera's in the world, all the TEDs in the world, all the edX's in the world, there's statistics, and this is from Harvard Business School, there's statistic that says that 97% of people who take courses never finish the course. So you have great platforms available. You're talking about digital enablement, all that is out there, but is it not enticing, exciting enough for us to go and, so as of now, like you said, it may happen in a few years from now, but as of now, I don't see digital replacing physical education, so which is good news for all of us professors going to universities and teaching. I'm going to turn the attention towards the audience out here. How many of us are heads of organizations? A CEO, a director, a founder? Raise your hands. All right. So can I request the microphone to be handed on to the crowd? Excellent. Can I request one of the founders to open up and say that how are you dealing with making sure that your employees are up to date with technologies? Who wants to go? Yes. Can we have the microphone handed over to the gentleman, please? Do you want to introduce yourself, sir, and tell us a little bit about your company? That'll be great.
My name is Eric Roy. I run an agency by the name of Draws International. For the past 8 months, we have shifted focus completely to digital. Firstly, I'm educating myself a lot. So I've replaced my drive music to listening to a lot of podcasts. And I ensure that my employees are listening to a lot of podcasts, and they're following a couple of tech-related websites. And I'm also investing on a tech division.
Wonderful. Thank you, Eric, for bringing podcast in. I think this will be a game changer in learning for all of us. Forget as a student or a company. Just as each one of us as individuals, for us to become better in whatever we are doing, I think podcast will be an absolute game changer. How many of us here listen to podcasts? Thank you, Eric. Please sit down. How many of you? All right. So can I have someone open up and talk about how podcasting has helped you? Or do you think it's an effective learning that you would recommend for the rest of the thing? Does somebody want to open up and discuss? All right. Can I have the microphone here, please?
Hi, I'm Arun from EBS India. And podcasts are a fantastic tool. One of the best thing it has done is my office was in Lal Bazaar and I was in Salt Lake. And I had a 1 hour on and off commute. So I used to listen to podcasts while going to my office and coming back. And I've made very good use of this time, and to reduce my stress levels, because when you see the road is jammed and you get very frustrated and angry, you're actually focused on your learning, so you don't care. That said, podcasts are really important and interesting because it engages your auditory thing, but otherwise you can be doing, possibly running, walking, doing whatever, but you can constantly be educating yourself. That is a very good tool. I would also like to quickly answer the question which you raised about how we are engaging our people and get them more digitally empowered. So what we do in our organization is that I do a lot of research, and I encourage my people to do a lot of research on various tools which we could actually use for ourselves and also for our clients. And the 2 questions that they have to answer is A, will you use it and why? And B, will you not use it and why? So if they can answer, and we have a discussion around this, and then we generally come up with some good ideas.
Will you not use it and why? What a brilliant negative approach to find out a positive answer. And I want to take that lead and put it on to the panelists out here. I want all of you to now put the hat as play the role of a devil's advocate and tell us, what do you think are the things that will stop us? Why do you think digital will fail as a learning platform? Okay, so we're going to completely flip the entire topic. Why do you think digital will fail as a thing? So who wants to go first? One answer per person.
Actually, when first I heard about the topic, I told that I am a technology pessimist. Pessimist. And I really felt thankful when Mr. Kamath also told the same, that because I feel that amongst our 45,000 students, well, they are not online fully. We have about 16,000 students from schools, Techno India Group Public Schools. All throughout West Bengal, the district areas. I feel when we started with the schools, when we rather read in schools, we didn't have counselors.
You didn't have what?
We didn't have counselors. We had teachers and principals. at present, a counselor is a must. And when we started with the schools, it was just 1 or 2 students who had to meet the counselor in a month. At present, after 12 years, we are having at least 30 to 35 students going to the counselor. I think a main cause is the gadgets. Is the gadgets.
Okay.
Because, as it is said, that the technology is a tool, but the teachers do the educating and motivating part.
Got it.
So classroom teaching is very, very important.
Got it.
The parental involvement is very necessary. And in the initial years of teaching, the training part, students do really need classroom teaching.
Perfect.
The presence of a teacher not only builds up leadership qualities, but as she was telling that, the emotional involvement with the teacher is very important. But yes, definitely, the digital part helps as a collaborative part, as a support system, but that storytelling, what Mr. Kamath was telling, it's very, very important.
Got it.
So I feel personally, but we do have to think about that digital empowerment also in education to help the students to learn fast, get the best out of it, and the teachers to maybe see how they are performing. That can be done fast. But again, that writing in the copies, getting the smell of the books, and signing and checking the copies, that has a major importance for the students.
Ma'am, I'm going to, well, I completely agree with you, right? So I'm 42 years old. You know, I'm typically the guy who grew up with books. And then, you know, like all of us out there, then we eventually started to learn. But I'll tell you what, this is like asking a student that in an age of calculators and computers, you still have to do math out there. And I'm going to judge you on how good you put pen to paper and do your math. And kids will come and say, why are you forcing me to learn trigonometry, algebra and all that when all I need is just answers out there. So similarly, you know, for content, you have all these things available. For example, if you want to check grammar, right? So typically it's a teacher who does it, but there's this fantastic tool called Grammarly. How many of you have started to use it? You know, it's one of the amazing startups that is ruling the world right now. And it does such an awesome job of not just capturing typos, but it also goes deep into language and catches it. So my question is, why are we not encouraging, you know, I completely agree face-to-face interaction is important, but these tools can be added on to make the face-to-face.
Sure. We are also having to support the total school system and the college systems. We are having e-classes and visual classrooms so that the students also can do their digital learning as well with the classroom teaching.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got
and
it, ma'am.
classrooms are smart classrooms really, but both are equally important as
Got
I
it.
feel.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
And I would also say, like the MIT courseware, then the NPTEL, these portions are also very helpful for the college students. The V-Labs, we are in the process.
These are virtual labs, is it?
These are virtual labs, and we are already working where many IITs are also there who are going to, rather they are working on the V-Labs, and we have already started working with them so that we get the children who can get the help from the V-Labs as well.
Dr. Maushmi, you had a point to discuss.
You know, I sometimes wonder that whenever we need a solution to a problem, what's the first thing we do? We Google, isn't it?
Correct.
Whether it's a medical necessity, whatever, which school to get your child admitted to, Google. Now, but internet is not allowed in the exams. Now, when it will be an open book exam, A, B, the net is going to come in, which is the greatest revolution which has happened. We're going to see a drastic change. We would not need any debates. digital is in. In fact, when we do orientation for our engineering students or other students, we do tell them that what is your USP? How do you differentiate yourself as a futurite from others? Do a Coursera course. We do, but then no credits on that. When the credit system comes in, because at the end of the day, one important take we have to take is that how important are examinations, how important are grades, whether you go abroad, whether you stay here, whether you go into placement, whatever it is. I was told that even if you need a membership of a club, you need to do a post-graduation. Now, how important is that? Now, if we perceive them to be important, then the examination system has to be introspected. Now, do internet come into the exam halls is going to be your guiding question.
Got
Thanks.
it. So, working professionals, please raise your hands. You're a boss, you're an employee, all that, raise your hands. All right, that's like pretty much all of us. How many of us are determined our promotion or our increase in salary based on a written test? None. None of us follow that in the working life. So why is it as a student in educational life, we are all made to go mug up our answers and our intelligence is determined on how much you can vomit on your answer sheet? Shouldn't the future of education really be about live projects, about case studies like how you do in IIM Calcutta? Shouldn't that be the one going forward? And
that is why we named ourselves Future.
that's what you do in your organization, ma'am? You enable that?
We try. We do a parallel. I'll be very honest with you. We are not an university. We are under the state university. So again, whether exams and grades are important, all stakeholders have to come to a consensus. So we do parallel sessions where case studies are done in business schools and media schools. In fact, the media students, it's a very new school. Future Media School started last year. I mean, throughout the year, we encourage our students, go to programs and do your PR, do your advertising, do whatever, do event management.
And what fantastic pedigree. IIM Calcutta is considered to be the best for case studies, so you really pick the best lessons from that.
We have written a few cases also, which has gone to the case house.
Yeah. See, we are also into case studies, as Dr. Moshumiko has pointed out, and we are one of the biggest case holders of case studies all across the world. Our cases are dealt in INSEAD, in other business schools all across the world.
Fantastic.
We write about 10,000 cases every year.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, give them a big round of applause. That is fantastic.
And one can definitely understand that. See, what I feel is we are very positive on technology. I'm really very positive. Though I was the youngest grandfather doing PhD, I'm really very positive about.
You're doing your PhD now?
Yeah, I have completed my PhD. I was the youngest grandfather doing PhD at that point of time. And whenever I used to attend classes, students used to get up. I used to say, no, I'm come to attend your classes. So see, there's no end to learning. I'm really very positive about the technology. And I always say that technology is going to be the big booster. And this is going to be the future. I earlier said that. I feel education has not reached that level where we are expecting to be. Education has still got a long way. Is technology going to disrupt education? I would say it is going to disrupt if education has reached a particular level. Technology disturbs technology because we don't have VCRs. We have now shifted over to disc. Now we have shifted over to online. We see movies online. So this change is going to happen. And one thing which I can say that you can do it selectively. If you have technology, you can use it we can use it in our management classes. Like when I went and taught operations management, I showed them how a professor in Germany teaching time study through an Excel sheet. So this is how it's going to help, how it's going to enhance the knowledge. As far as engineering is concerned, though we do not handle engineering, our universities are handling that separately. But engineering can be a big focus for digitization because you can learn certain subjects. Like I've done my engineering from IIT Kharagpur. I can always say you can learn subjects through digitization. Like in medicine, you can understand the anatomy of human body, through, we have got virtual reality, we have got augmented reality, all that is there. So this is going to be the future, and we are all going to, even if we say somebody is going to post office, at this point of time, later on, we will definitely say that nobody is going to post office. So this is going to happen, and that's why the post offices are suffering at this stage. You can really very well understand this. This is what I feel so that it's very important that you implement technology in phased manner, in a selective way on various subjects. And you can learn strength of materials through technology. You can learn various subjects through technology. You can have also see, various online courses which are there. You can link it, and we do that linkage every time. So it is an additional tool which is available to us. And this enhances, apart from, having classes on a daily basis.
You know, when Pradeep took that decision to stop real-world corporate programs, and it's a very lucrative business. I know a lot of people, but it's a very gutsy, bold decision to say, I'm going to cut away revenues that is coming in, and I'm going to start focusing on completely online. I had my own doubts, and many people had your own doubts, but you've completely proved otherwise, and the success of your organization is testimony to that. But the problem, Pradeep, is that while now you can move away from India and get students from Azerbaijan and Auckland and New Zealand, but how will you engage them digitally, right? How are you coping with that challenge?
Sure, Kiruba. So one is, I think still even 90% of our audience is from India. And we have also experienced that, especially digital marketing education, right? It's not about theory. There is enough great content. That's true for anything in life. But the real value is in terms of people practicing it. And that's what we ensure. And actually, with online, it's far more possible. Now, in a month, we are launching a next product construct of our training program where we are completely moving to, again, flipped classroom model in an online way.
Can you explain what flipped classroom model?
Okay, sure. So as you know, he had shared, Khan Academy is a real success. That what happens is what they observed was the real value is actually in the homework or assignments what people do. The lectures are standardized. I have studied in IIT. I have seen same professor, same notes. He would repeat with every class, for years. And that content is more or less same. That could be updated. But when us as a students go back and try to implement what we have learned, the application of that is the point where you start the real learning. Now in our programs as well, they are completely online. What we realized was the concepts, the theory of that is standardized. That need not be repeated. So what we are doing is we are making our model, it's online, but rather than giving them the lectures online in terms of the concepts repeating every week, that is being shared with them before they even come to the online classroom session. And in the online classroom session, we focus on they applying various concepts of digital marketing into their business or whatever their objective is. So they use SEO, real-time, live, and especially thanks to digital marketing, everything can be online, all tools are online. So that's a real focus we have shifted in terms of all the concepts, standard concept could be given in the form of recordings, but the real value where they practice it, that's where the real engagement needs to happen. And with online, we have seen that it's even more. And I'll go back to your earlier question, which is one way connected, is what is the drawback or challenge in case of online? I think the biggest drawback of online is the commitment level is low, you cannot judge, and when a course is free, it's the human nature that anything which is free we don't appreciate. That's a real challenge the Coursera is facing of single-digit percentage completion, and now they have added certification layer which has helped them increase the overall participation percentage. And I think that's where the test also helps. When there is something you are going to be assessed on, there is a level of motivation. So I think that's one thing which helps in terms of overall increases the level of participation.
Completely agree with you, Pradeep. Question to you. Let's see if you can quickly answer it. Name the top 5 most prestigious universities in the world. You can just shout out your answer. You don't have to. What's your answer, sir? Harvard. Okay. Let's take somebody else's answer. One is Harvard. Kellogg. Yale. Cambridge. Oxford. And I need one more. MIT. What if I told you that all the university names that you just gave now, all the universities have put up all their lectures as open course online for all of us to watch. 0 rupees. You can go watch Harvard's all classes, you can watch MIT's, it's an open courseware, and like Pradeep rightly said, Anything that is given away for free, we just don't add value to it. But you will see people going for tuitions and coaching classes and falling over each other to get admission into Harvard, correct? So that's a kind of a dichotomy of our society.
Talking about dichotomy, can I come in on this now? I'm sure most of you watched the Rio Games, the opening ceremony.
By the way, did
Yes.
Deepika really win gold? One of the gentlemen ran
No,
out.
no. She did not.
Oh, she did not, is it? Because
did
one
not.
gentleman,
No.
oh, it's
That
qualified.
was for the
He got so excited. Obviously, he wasn't listening to the seminar. I think he was closely watching Olympics on his phone. And suddenly he jumped out of it, ran out to me and said that, hey,
No.
Deepika's
No.
won
no.
gold or
None
something.
of
But
it is
yeah,
happening. So, hey.
got it. Sorry, ma'am. Go
So,
ahead.
Kiruba, you were talking about the dichotomy now about this Rio Games. We were being shown by Mr. Kamath the videos of how the Pope's first investiture, and then later in 2013 when everyone put up their cell phones and you suddenly saw that. The same thing was happening when the parade was going on. Everyone had their cell phones up and they were all taking their selfies and they were all recording it. So on the one hand, everybody was being quite tech savvy. On the other, and this is what I missed a lot, you must have heard the opening speeches. Did you? Did anyone hear that? Yes. Did you notice that instead of having a proper teleprompter, I mean, this place is so beautifully wired, they had such a fantastic program on which they spent millions of dollars, they were reading from bits of paper. And the president who was reading it, he actually had Parkinson's, so the paper was going like this. And that, I don't know if that was giving such a good signal. None of them, they could easily have had it all lined up before. So look at the dichotomy that happens. I think they should think a little more. For instance, a conference like this, how well wired in we are. I mean, everything is just going so perfectly. I'm quite amazed by it. So that's one. The other thing is to come back to basics. We were all talking about digital learning. Now, I just started with a new batch of students in my media science course. We call it media science, I'm glad, and not media arts or whatever it is. So there is a scientific approach to media, I think, today. So this new batch, whom I talked to just last week, when I started my lecture with them, suddenly I found a whole lot of cell phones in front of me. I said, what are you up to? They said, ma'am, we are recording the lecture. Now, this had never happened before. I don't know whether I was pleased or not, because I said, may I also request you to take out your notebooks, to listen to what I'm saying and take notes. I'm sorry, but I'm going back to those. But I think it's very important, if people are going to focus, not to just keep their cell phones, because they may never actually look at that one and look at that lecture, because they know also at the end of it they're going to get some lecture notes. But unless you can take a few notes, look at the number of notes I've been taking, what people have been talking before me. It really does help you a lot to concentrate and pick out the key elements.
Sure.
So I have one question of you, that if we want our students to become more digitally savvy, and this is one question which you had sent us on the net when you said that could we use cell phones more effectively to teach our students. So I did a little homework with some people who are talking about the digital media. They have various blogs, and they actually are big column writers, and they also teach it. So I asked them that what are some of the sites that perhaps I could ask my students to go into. And this is a question I'm throwing back to you, that could we not, apart from our regular teaching, also ask them to try out, say, a Google Classroom, or Create on the Go, or a Path Source? I just noted down these 3 or 4. Or later, once they're ready to go into the big bad world, Karma Circles, things like that. So could we not ask them free of cost to download some of these things, look at it, and then we also interact with them as we go along. Could that not be the perfect way where we also teach the normal way when they come, listen to us, interact, we share case studies.
Yeah.
At the end of 3 years, they even come up with a thesis, which is important. They also do certain films at the end of the day.
Yep.
So could we not have this as
Completely agree with you.
you agree with
Completely
that?
agree with you. I think it's a combination of classroom teaching and keeping it very engaged. So for example, as we are having this conversation, I was very consciously looking at the audience, very, very consciously looking at the audience. And it's very understandable that people would put their heads down on they're working on their phones. And you know what's the sign? Do you think they're taking notes from our session? No. You know, they're probably busy in Facebook, in Twitter, or suddenly catching up on Olympic news. It is, and it's perfectly okay. I have done that in every conference that I've attended, and I'm sure all of us are guilty of it. It's because we have such short attention span. 1 hour, 15 minutes panel discussion. You know, it's tough. And this is something we have to be very careful when we are talking about using digital as a learning tool. We have to be conscious of the fact that kids especially have very short attention spans, and hence, you know, we'll have to tune our learning methodologies also in that kind of
So
thing.
therefore, aren't we sort of killing their creativity by giving them too many technological tools? You know, I have a vegetable seller, and he brings his 2 kids to me every second day or third day. The 2 kids, one of them carries a cell phone because he has to be in touch with the customer. The other, the younger one, usually carries a bunch of drawings and paintings for me. So that, because he is so good that each time I pay him, you know, for his efforts. The same thing with my cook, whose grandson has a hole in his heart, but he writes the most beautiful prose. He doesn't have a cell phone to bother him about so many other things. He is creating. So what I'm saying is, are people's creativity not being marred because rich students today are using Xbox and you know, everything else, and not sitting and drawing enough, not writing enough, not creating enough? Again, question back to you.
Sure, ma'am. I'm going to ask, can we have the microphone to this gentleman, sir? Would you want to introduce yourself and tell us about your organization? Let me stand. Oh, it's coming up.
Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to the whole panel. I represent.
Who are you, sir?
I represent Techno India. I'm the director and CEO. I'm Dr. Sujoy Bishwash. I just want to go back to Rita Madam, as he said. See, Madam has already said, our co-chairman Madam had said that we process, we follow a system where, as you said, that you were giving a notes and people were taking down. The Moodle system, the modular object-oriented dynamic learning environment, here, we as the faculty, when we act as the faculties, within 24 hours, we are supposed to upload our lecture in the Moodle, so that the students who are imparting, the faculty who are imparting, the students need to take down the notes in principle. But as all of you said, physical learning is very important. Physical teaching is very important. The body language is important. The aggression is important. So the students can write down the bits and pieces which are very important. So if that's outlined, that part can be written, not the entire stuff. But at the same time, when they go back to a tabs or the Kindle or stuff like that, they will find the entire lecture. They doesn't miss anything. Both physical learning with the physical involvement, aggression, along with the notes that will come with the Moodle, I think can be a perfect match in all times to come. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. And I know you're speaking from experience of working with Moodles.
We keep on doing that in our university and in our colleges.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, sir. We have time for 2 more questions. So, yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Kaushik Bhattacharya, and I'm a management consultant. My question is to Pradeep. I have seen Pradeep growing from, starting his office in a small flat in Delhi from where he is now today. So my lot of congratulations to Pradeep. Pradeep, I would really like to know that since you have traction from all over the world now, how cross-culture actually, plays a role in digital courses, especially that we impart from India. Is there any role to play the cross-cultural effect?
Thanks, Kaushik, for your kind words. To be very honest, at this point of time, we have less than 10% of our participants from outside India. And especially Middle East, Southeast Asia. And I think, as I had shared earlier, one of the advantages, which is true with any great course in the world, for example, why a course at Stanford is so valuable is because of the diversity of the crowd. In our case also, as we experience, like where Dubai is currently in terms of their understanding of digital marketing versus where Singapore is, versus where Malaysia is, versus where India is, and even within India, tier 1 city, tier 2 cities, there is a huge difference. So that brings a lot of challenge as well, because people are at different level. At the same time, it brings a lot of diversity into learning through multiple experiences. So that is one of the reasons why we believe that going forward, online is only going to be valuable, because it brings that different sets of experience. At the same time, US and India, right? So we are not even thinking one is the time difference doesn't work, but there is a huge difference. Like if they are diametrically opposite in terms of, or maybe Dubai and US probably are completely different. Like US is far ahead, Dubai is still picking up. So you need to have a balance as well. But otherwise, I think if that is within a range, it significantly contributes to the value the whole class or the participants get.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Just wanted to add a point. In fact, I strongly believe in the happiness quotient of us and the students, everybody alike. And traveling gives me a high, So we have alumni chapters over the globe. And this time it was in West Coast where I met my students. And I still remember Jeet Raichaudhuri, I asked him, Jeet, what was the best thing out of college? He said, ma'am, I didn't have money. And principal said, yes, I can go to the robotics quiz, robotics fest in IIT KGP, Kharagpur. And I went there and I met Naveen and another person and we formed a small company. And today, his driverless electric cars roam around Stanford University.
Wow.
Y Combinator has given him funds. But he remembers his college days not so much for the study. I think Pradeep was touching on very significant point that it's not the courseware. It is, of course, the courseware. But what happens beyond?
Yeah.
The discussions. So this guy, in fact, he did his MCA. He's not even an engineer. But he didn't have money. He remembers that principal gave him the fund to go to IIT Kharagpur. And that was his turning point. And look at it, and he's one of the top 10 entrepreneurs of the world, the startups.
Yeah, very rightly put.
So
I don't think any of us will think back and
so
say,
digital
yes.
or no digital, this goes ahead.
That's right. And there's a healthy mix of these two is what make it successful as well. So we have one last question, sir, and we can just wrap with that.
I'm Professor Alok Kumar from University of Calcutta. I just want to share, certain thoughts. First is, I think the classroom has to become open, because when you are speaking these days, and particularly in the University of Calcutta, we have a cross-section. We have people who are coming from Purulia, from other places, and a huge cross-section, So you have from Loreto, you have from St. Xavier's, but you also have from Purulia. So you have to have an open class where people, they take, the screenshots of your slideshow, and they take notes. And even I have experienced that in certain universities where there is a Wi-Fi, they check you also. And you must allow them. You can't say that, why are you checking me? For example, in IIM Calcutta, where I am an associate professor, I find that they check you, and when you are talking and then you say, Patel, are you checking me? So he gets a little embarrassed, So, but you must encourage them and to answer you that, am I right or not? Am I right or not? Because they check you standing over there. So this, I think, should be allowed. I think it should be opened, as Rita Bhimani just now, prompted out, that she went somewhere and, they were all mobile phones. And it is true that is happening. So it has become a mixture of taking notes, of your, taking shots, and recording and everything together. So I think that you must allow. And my personal belief is that within another 5 years, the classroom will become just tutorials. The classroom will become tutorials. They will come only to check, because everything will be uploaded, all the courses will be there, and then the students will come for tutorials because they need some more help. So that is my thought,
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you. I'm going to wrap up, unfortunately. Just 30 seconds. I'm going to start the stopwatch now. Yes. 30 seconds. Yes.
Sir, I slightly disagree with all due respect. What we are missing out is we are actually doing the traditional teaching through digital. When you're using digital, you need to have the digital mindset. Classes will be there, but as somebody mentioned there, you actually deliver the course material in advance and discuss in the classroom, which is absolutely not possible in the proper digital format. This is my take.
Yeah, I really hope that there is somebody who finds a good way to solve that problem, which is be extremely. So let me ask you a quiz question. I'm going to wrap up with that. We all know Google is the world's largest search engine. Which is the second largest? Right? Bing? No? YouTube? It is right. So most of you got it right. So YouTube is the world's second largest search engine, and that's because all of us are so visually inclined. We learn better by watching and by listening. And if you can add that element of interactivity with digital beautifully brings, and what an awesome combination that's going to be. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a fantastic round of applause to all the panelists. You know, just look at the sheer amount of collective experience and wiseness that they bring to all of us. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Kiruba Shankar and the very eminent panel, thank you very much for such a lively discussion. We would now like to say thank you to all of you. May I invite up on stage, on behalf of the PRSI Kolkata Chapter, Rajendra Khandelwal, Ina Bose, and Ashif Shah, please. Rajendra Khandelwal, are you there? Rajuda in the auditorium? Angshuman Bandopadhyay, Ina Bose. Inadi, are you here? Shomo, Inadi is here. And do you have Asif? Okay. Shomir Mukherjee, Ina Bose, and Angshuman Bandopadhyay to do the honors for us, please. We will greet Kiruba Shankar for being such a wonderful moderator for the discussion. Surprisingly, we are on time. Kiruba Shankar, CEO, Business Blogging, wonderful moderator for this session. Thank you, Kiruba. May I request the panel to be greeted as well. Ina Bose to do the honors first for two of them, and then, of course, the remaining three. Ajay. Ajay ji, Mr. Pathak. Go, I've said. Please come. কি অদ্ভুত, এটা তো আসবে একটা করে, আসবে তো এরা। হেজিটেশন কেন? Ajay Pathak. Pradeep Chopra. Inadi, would you remain on stage? Will do the honors for us. Pradeep Chopra. Can we have the memento, please, on stage? Pradeep Chopra, thank you for being with us. There are more. Thank you. May I request Ashif to come up here, Ashif Shah. May I request you to do the honors for us to Dr. Moushami Ghosh. Dr. Moushami Ghosh, thank you very much for being here. May I get Dr. Ghosh's memento up here, please? Dr. Moushami Ghosh, thank you. Thank you very much. Shomir Mukherjee, would you do the honors for the two other eminent panelists here? Our has been an inspiration to PRSI for so long a time, still continues to be an inspiration. Rita Bhimani, the doyen of our profession. Rita Bhimani, what a wonderful panelist this morning. Shomir Mukherjee doing the honors for us. And Shomir, would you do the honors for Manushi Roy Chaudhary, co-chairman Techno India? Manushi Roy Chaudhary, at the helm of affairs at one of the largest educational conglomerates in this country, and possibly the largest educational group in Eastern India, the Techno India Group. Manushi Roy Chaudhary. And I think it will be a wonderful opportunity for the panel to be here together, a good photo option for everyone. May I request the panel to come right in front with Kiruba, the moderator, and the other panelists. Let us have a picture together. This is the very eminent panel for the first panel discussion on education in the digital age. Thank you. Thank you very much.